Welcome. I'm Supervisor Diane Burgess, Chair of Contra Costa County Board of Supervisors. As part of Contra Costa County's redistricting process, we look forward to your input. So once every 10 years, redistricting is the process of redrawing the boundaries for supervisorial districts after U.S. Census data is made available. Redistricting is the regular process of adjusting the lines of voting districts in response to population shifts within the county. Supervisorial districts in counties must be redrawn so that each district is substantially equal in population. This process ensures that each supervisor represents about the same number of people. Additionally, any supervisorial district boundaries must comply with voting rights laws. In California, we use the state's redistricting data, which is based on census results. Contra Costa County is committed to a robust public outreach effort, including public hearings, workshops, email updates, and a dedicated website at cocoredistricting.org. As part of the process, the Board of Supervisors and I welcome your input for our county. One of the best ways you can share your input is through an easy-to-use online mapping tool called District R. As part of our effort to make map submissions easy and readily available, we encourage you to draw your proposed maps, submit comments, and define your community of interest. State law defines a community of interest as a population that shares common social or economic interests that should be included within a single supervisorial district for purposes of its effective and fair representation. Communities of interest do not include relationships with political parties, incumbents, or political candidates. For more information and resources, visit cocoredistricting.org. We welcome you to this public workshop that will demonstrate how to use the online mapping tool so you can share your input and play an important part in Contra Costa County's redistricting process.
So once again, I'll share my screen, and this time we'll look at the tool Districtor, and we'll see some of the basic things that you can do in Districtor, specifically in Contra Costa, and then we'll transition into showing kind of like the portal layout. So this is our site, districtor.org, and it has, how to use section, jump to the map, about Districtor, and a what's new page. Essentially, if you're jumping into just user tool and start mapping your district or communities of interest, you can just scroll down until you see a map of the US, or from the top, you can just click jump to the map. So we have modules for all 50 states plus DC and Puerto Rico. But of course, today we're focused on California and more specifically Contra Costa. Once you go into the California module, we have two paths, the district path and the communities path, purple and red. For today, we're going to be focused on districts, but if later on you want to draw your own community of interest in your county, you can also use the tool for that. Now, within this district module for California, we have the option to draw statewide maps, congressional, state senate, and state assembly. And we have some county and city modules that were made upon request. And we have one for Contra Costa. You won't necessarily use this. You'll probably more than likely use a portal, but I just wanted you to be familiar with Districtor as a tool. Once you click on the module, something that looks like Apple Maps or Google Maps loads. And this will allow you to only paint within the boundary of the county. You won't paint over another county. But here to the left, we have a plus and a minus sign, which you can use to zoom in and out. And you can drag around the map to move. Once you find the area of the county that you want to start drawing in, you want to focus on this right side where we have all our tools. Some things that I want to highlight, this first bar it's the population tab, sorry. It has the ideal population for each district within Contra Costa, each supervisorial district. And for this news cycle, it's 233,613 people. Population is a federal requirement, of course. And so here we make it easy for you to keep track of the population in each district that you draw. At the bottom, you'll see the unassigned population, or how many people there are in Contra Costa. And you'll see a max population deviation. And what this means, it'll give you an estimate, not an estimate, an actual measurement of how much you deviated or how off you are from that ideal. Usually a rule of thumb is you want to be within 5%, either under or over the population ideal. Anything smaller than that is great. Anything bigger is kind of problematic and hard to argue in court. This data layers tab can show you different things within the map. So if we want to see maybe municipalities while we draw, we can do that. If we want to see maybe the current districts that are in place, we can also do that. We can also see population by race. If we want to look at Hispanic, Black, Asian, white population within Contra Costa, we can see that as well. And of course, the darker a precinct is or a block group, the more of that population there is. Finally, this other tab, evaluation, will tell you the population by race of the areas that you have drawn. So how do we get started? Up here, we have these 4 tools. The hand is, of course, to move around the map. The paintbrush is to start drawing your districts. And we have here 5 colors representing the 5 districts that you can draw in Contra Costa. Once you selected your color and make the brush size whatever you want, it can be really big or really small. I usually start with like a 10, which lets me select a few precincts or block groups. So I'll zoom in to this area of Contra Costa. I'm not from California, so I don't know the area too well, but let's pretend I do for a second, and I start drawing my district, and you'll see that the population starts going up. If I want to go faster, I'm going to make my brush size a little bigger. And again, my goal is to get to that ideal. I'm doing it very indiscriminately because, of course, I have no idea what sort of communities live in this area of Contra Costa or what people in this area want. But of course, when you're drawing the districts, you'll actually have knowledge of that area. But I just want to get to the ideal. Great. So not a very accurate map, but the reason I wanted to do this was so you could see what happens when you do that. If I want to see how off I really am, I can put my mouse over the bar, and it'll tell me that I'm deviating by negative 3.14, which is within that 5% frame. So, we're in good shape. I can, make sure that there's no holes or gaps in between my map, and that'll make it better. But let's pretend I've finally drawn all 5 districts in the county. A lot of these precincts and blocks are very, very tiny, and so you're bound to miss 1 or 2 of them as you're drawing your maps. Fortunately, we have this tool right here that highlights any unassigned units. So there might be a very, very tiny one between, like somewhere in this district that I just can't find with my eye. So this will highlight them for me. Right now, it's going to highlight most of the county because most of the county is not assigned to a district, but it'll pretty much highlight any missed precincts or blocks. And we see that within this blue district, I missed these 2, which are very tiny and would have been very hard for me to see them just by going over the map. And if we look around, it seems like I didn't miss anything else. So I could maybe go back to drawing, and I could, make sure those 2 little units are painted. There you go. So there you go. That's a completed district, and I will do the same thing for the other 4. Of course, I'm not going to do that now. I don't want to take your time. Once, let's say I'm working on this map, and it's been an hour of me drawing my district, and I want to finish the entire county, but I'm a little bit tired, and I want to save this. There's no account, or you can just exit and come back to it later. It doesn't work like that. So Districtor is a free tool. It's open source, so anyone can use it. And the only way you can save your map is by clicking this button right here. When you click save, it creates a unique URL. that you want to copy, and you can keep it saved in maybe in a Word document, in your email. You can send it to a friend, etc. But this link will be very useful to come back to this map later on. If you just exit out without saving this link somewhere, there's no way for you to access that map again, and we can't access them either. And this is very useful, and I'll show you why later, for public participation maps. So this is how it works from the general districtor tool. But now let's move on to the public portal that we've been working with the commission in Contra Costa. So can everyone see the screen? Christine, can you see it? Just thumbs up.
Yeah, you can see it.
Perfect. Thank you. So this is the public portal we've established for the commission, and you can do two things here. You can map communities of interest or districts. Right now, we're very focused on districts, on the supervisorial district. So that's what I'm going to be focused on. When you get into the portal, you'll see a little bit of basic information about the efforts being done, a short video that gives you an introduction to redistricting, if maybe, and this will be replaced with a video made by the commission. If you want to understand what a written testimony, a district plan, or a community of interest plan is, we have examples of them right here. If you scroll down, you'll see videos of how to draw district maps and how to draw community of interest maps, if you want to have a refresher. And you have the two links to the modules to draw the districts and the COIs. Down below, we have the submission form and the gallery, which I will go over in a second. But let's start. Let's say I've gone over the introductory video. I've read all of this. I'm ready to start. I can click on this button, Map Supervisorial Districts, and it'll take me straight to Districtor. Now, the benefit about starting from the portal is that when you save, it'll create a link to submit straight to the portal if you're ready. So it's a shortcut that we definitely recommend. So same thing, if I start from the portal and I start drawing, just gonna map my district. Let's pretend this is a complete map and I've mapped all 5 districts and I'm ready to go. I can click the save button up here like I did before. The only difference is that a different window will pop up. And in this window, I have 2 options. I can either copy that link and save it somewhere, so I can come back to it tomorrow or another day, or I can proceed to submit this map. And what this will do is it'll take me back to the portal and it'll fill in that URL for me, that map. That way I don't have to do it on my own. Now at this point, I just have to give my map a title. If I want to add an explanation about my map, why I decided to draw some of the districts the way they did. And I can add tags, which the way to think about these are ways for other people in your community or in the county to find your map. You can tag it District 1 or West Contra Costa or Hispanic, etc. Just tags that will help people find your map. Once I fill all that out, I can fill my information, click on these 3 checkboxes and go ahead and submit. Now you will receive a confirmation email, and it's very important for you to check it because that email will ask you, it'll make sure that you are who you say you are and you're mapping from Contra Costa, California. And once you confirm it, your map will appear in the submission gallery. If you don't confirm it, it won't appear here. Now, what are some of the other things that you can do with this portal? So let's say you're not ready to start mapping, you just want to look at other people's maps. We have some examples of people that have submitted plans in the last few days. And let's see, you look at this district map right here. You click on it, and looking at their explanation, looking at their map, you think this is a great district plan for Contra Costa. You don't necessarily want to draw a different version. You think this is perfect. You think this is great. You still want to make your voice heard. So you want to go ahead and click on proceed to submit a comment. What this will do, it'll fill in the idea of the plan that you really liked or really disliked maybe, and you can leave your comments about it. Of course, it's also to be cordial, no bad words, no profanity, but you can say, this is an excellent map because I feel like it keeps the communities in Contra Costa together, or this is a really bad map because I feel like it cuts too many municipalities, breaks them apart, etc. You can write however you feel about the map, and go through the same process to submit that comment. Now, if after seeing this map, you're like, you know what, this is a great explanation of the districts, and I kind of like this plan, but I think there's some things that I would want to fix. You can go ahead and view this map in Districtor. Once you click that button, it'll take you to the Districtor page. It'll load their plan, and you can make any changes that you want to it. Now, this does not change their original map or the original plan. Their original is untouched. Nobody can change it, nobody can delete it, but this kind of creates a copy for you to work with. So let's say after seeing this person's plan, I just think that this purple part of the district does not belong there. I think it should be yellow or something. So I'll go ahead and I'll delete that, and I'll grab the paintbrush, the color yellow, and I'll paint it. Perfect. And I'm done, right? That's the only change that I wanted to do in the map. And I can go ahead and submit this as my own plan. And I'll click save. So sometimes there you go, there's a window. So I'm done. I'll go ahead and proceed to submit this plan again. And I can give it a title. And I can, in my explanation, I can say that I saw a plan in the submission gallery that was very well drawn, but I think the yellow district was a little bit off, so I went in and fixed it, or etc. And go ahead to go through the same process to submit it. So there's a way for for this portal makes it so public participation is really encouraged as you see other people's maps or other people's commentary. Great. So I know that was a lot of information. So hopefully there are, we really appreciate questions. So if anyone has a question, a concern, feel free to unmute yourself, raise your hand, or throw your question in the chat.
Could you, I'm kind of interested, this is Susan Requa, interested in the school district boundaries as well as the city boundaries. Is there a way that you can call them up together, or does it have to be just one or the other?
Let me check one more time. I don't think we have what is it called, a school districts as a overlayer yet. I think that's something that Christine or someone in the commission mentioned might be useful. If it seems like a really big need or a really big ask that the people in Contra Costa want, we can definitely add it. But as of now, it's not available. Not available for you to visualize it, I guess.
So would that be considered a community of interest, or could you show us the list of what community of interests are included?
Yeah, of course. I can actually, if everyone here on the call is okay, I can give a 4-minute, 5-minute presentation on what communities of interest are. If there are no objections, I can do that real quick.
And if we wanted to add communities of interest, about how much time would it take, or not communities of interest, school districts, how much time would that take for us to get? I know that you guys are doing a lot of mapping for a lot of people, so I want to make sure that we set expectations.
Yeah, if you can get us all the shape files, all the files that we need to add that, maybe 2 days, 3 days at tops. And that's only because, again, we're so busy handling a lot of other things. Otherwise, it would be a lot faster. But let me go ahead and to answer the question about COIs very quickly. I know this training was supposed to be centered around supervisorial districts, but in short, COIs are defined differently from state to state. Some states don't even consider it into the process. So they all define it in different vague terms, but for the most part, COI is any group with a significant shared interest that should be given consideration by the landowners, right? So this could include small family farmers, people who have a unique environmental concern, families who rely on the same public transit or school system, people who work in the same public sector, etc. This is not an exhaustive list. A community of interest could be pretty much anything, and it could be rural, urban, suburban. It can be as big or as small as you want. But yes, a school district can definitely be a community of interest. You know, it's people in the community that are really concerned or interested about the the quality of their children's education, or the funding there is provided to the schools in the area. That's definitely a community of interest. A community of interest could also be people who depend on the same tourism industry, and I'm making this up because I don't know Contra Costa, but maybe in the north part of the county where it's closer to the water, a lot of people there rely on tourism. People who come to see the beach or come to ride boats. I'm not sure, but that might be a community of interest. People in a neighborhood that just lack public transportation, that's another community of interest. So there's not a very set standard for what a COI is.
Luis, that's a pretty good explanation, but if anybody wants a more comprehensive list, they can simply go to our dedicated website, and we have a list that goes on for quite some time. But you're right, and that is, it can be just about anything, as long as it has a geographic center, it can be.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, David. And if you want to, feel free to share that link to that in the chat.
Thank you. That would be great.
Awesome. Any other questions about maybe the portal, Districtor? Has anyone utilized the portal yet, or maybe used Districtor?
Not yet. I am wondering if you could walk through how would I get back to, if I saved it, what does it look like to get back to it? I can't picture what information and how that has to be provided.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, let me go ahead and show you kind of what that would look like. Let me. I'm gonna share my screen one more time. So let's say I'm in Districtor or in the portal. And I'm gonna just wait. So let's say I'm in the portal and I start drawing one of the districts, and my partner's asking me to sit down for dinner and get away from the computer for a second. And I don't want to lose my progress because I worked on this for a long time. I'll click save, and again, it'll create that link. I would copy it, and I could probably send it in an email. I could I could send it to myself. So I pasted the link, and I could send it to myself, and that's a way I could keep it. Or I could, if I'm in a meeting like this, can everyone see my screen anymore?
It looks
I'm
like
only seeing part of your stuff, but not everything that you're doing. Like I couldn't see it when it popped up, and I couldn't see you sending stuff to your email.
yeah, we see your email.
Wait, it seems like my computer is glitching. Sorry.
Okay. So when I click on that link, then it takes me directly back to that screen of how my map was created. Is that right? What it exactly like?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you paste that link again into the tab, it does take you back to that same plan, exactly how you left it. If anyone clicks on that link, it'll take them to a copy of that same map. It seems like my Zoom is glitching a lot. If I do by any chance log off, I'm not sure if it'll kick everyone out, but this is really acting up on me. I'm sorry.
Do you want me to share my screen with that same stuff?
Can you try see if maybe it resets my things?
Can you, I don't know if you can give me permissions to share.
Oof, I'm not sure if I have no control right now over, like nothing is popping up for me.
Oh no.
Yeah. At least I can still talk to you, so I'll try to answer questions, but yeah, I can't share my screen anymore, or I can't stop sharing. What do you see right now?
Your email.
What about now?
Your email.
Really?
I don't know if everyone else, I mean, that's just what I'm seeing. I'm not sure if anybody else has seen the same thing. Oh, now it just switched to Outlook.
This is, oh, I'm so sorry for this.
This is the second time that I've had just really slow internet that of someone that I'm working with.
Yeah, my computer's never glitched this much. I think something's going on. But what about now? No. Okay, I apologize for that, but I think we can continue. Any other questions I could answer? Did that explain how maybe you would go about saving your link?
Yeah, that was very helpful. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And ideally you won't encounter problems like this when you're doing it. I was about to show you that I could also send that link in an email or in a message to any of you in the chat, or even my family or my neighbors, and we can all refer back to the link at any other point. And if you paste it in any tab, you'll be able to go back to that map. And once you're ready to submit, all you have to do is go to the portal, paste your link in that form that we saw earlier, and it'll fill out the plan for you.
Is there a deadline for doing this?
I know Christine has an answer for that, right?
Yeah, I can respond to that. So there's a timeline on that website, and so there's
Okay.
the next public hearing is on Tuesday, and we've actually already, because we have publishing deadlines for our board order for that next public hearing, we've already combined all the public comment that we have. Our next public hearing is the 9th of, wait, is that right? Of November. Was it the 2nd? I'm gonna double check the date real quick.
That's fine.
The 9th.
November 9th.
Thank you. I had this moment that I wasn't sure. November 9th, and in order to be included in the board order for that public hearing, you want to have it in about a week beforehand, so the 2nd. And then we have public workshops that you can attend as well and provide public comment, and those are from the 20th or the 23rd to the 29th. And that schedule is also in each supervisorial district, and you can also provide comment during that time. David, did I miss anything?
No, the only thing to keep in mind is there is a redistricting deadline, which is December 15th. But in order to meet that, because of the time requirements, we're anticipating that the board will consider drafting a final map by the November 23rd meeting. So anybody who wishes to have a map considered should have it in within that timeline.
Of before the 23rd?
Yes,
Right?
have to be in before the 23rd in order to be considered. So.
And I would say the sooner the better, really, because we are because the data was released so late, we're really on a compressed time frame.
What is this meeting on the October 19th?
The meeting on October 19th is actually an evening meeting. It's at the Board of Supervisors. It'll be a virtual meeting, so you'll be able to participate by Zoom or by call-in if you wish. And it'll start at 6:15 p.m. Most of our meetings are during the daytime, but that meeting by law has to be in the evening. And then we have, as Christine mentioned, a series of workshops that'll start on the 23rd, and they will, well, there'll be a Saturday one during the morning, there'll be a Sunday one at noon, and then there'll be evening ones that following week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And those will be hosted by the individual supervisors. So they'll be focusing, of course, on the maps on their district, but anybody can participate, and anybody can submit ideas or comments, not just for the individual workshops, but for any or all of them.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? I think I'm still here. I'm still having issues.
You're still here.
Yeah, this is so wonky. I can't click on any controls. Any other questions for district about districtor or the portal? Anything I can help with my limited control?
When you click submit, does it give you a response back? Like typically you get confirmations, right, for something like that, that your submission was received. Does that happen in this case?
Yeah, and that's something that I talked about earlier. So once you fill out, all your URL, all your information, and you click submit, what will happen is you'll receive a confirmation email saying like you made a submission, and what you have to do then is confirm that you indeed made that submission, and that's the only way that your plan or commentary will appear in the portal and the gallery.
Okay.
So you will receive an email saying like, can you please confirm that this is your submission and you made it and it's ready to be published, I guess.
Well, thank you so much. It's you made it look easy. I'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it's a very, I think, an intuitive tool, but I know when it's the first time messing around with it, it takes longer. So the more practice you get using the portal and using Districtor, the faster and the better maps you'll make. One thing I can plug in right now is, I'm sure Christine can send you later a flyer to sign up for. We have weekly trainings on Tuesdays to draw districts, on Thursdays to draw communities of interest, and the same days on Thursdays we have study halls where we can work one-on-one. You can bring your map, your district plan. If you have any questions, if you need help, you sit with one of my colleagues, and spend about 30 minutes working with you. So again, if you have trouble using Districtor or the portal, you can always sign up for those trainings. Anything else, Christine, that I should mention maybe?
I was trying to think if there's any other questions about the districting process as a whole or about District R. One more look around. One looks like they're experts. If that's the case, then I just want to say thank you very much for everyone for taking the time to learn more about District R, and we're welcome and appreciate all the time it takes to provide input, and are looking forward to any of maps and ideas that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Bye now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Luis.